Hey, welcome guys. I'm Mike Gastin and I am joined by Chad Rieflin, the Director of Programs and Grants for the Consumer Credit Counseling Service of Rochester. And this is number 4 of a multi-part series on credit for entrepreneurs. Chad, thanks for joining me.
Great to be here.
This is good stuff. I've learned a lot. We've gone through a handful of topics and it's really been enlightening. And I've been in business for decades, so this is good stuff. I really appreciate it.
It's been great because, we're in the thick of it every day. We forget, just how much there is to this.
Yeah.
So it's been a good reminder.
Well, today we're going to talk a little bit about credit scores. And we've been talking about a number of things leading up to this. We've been talking about looking at our various credit reports and making sure that information and data is correct and how to get at that. But there's this number out there, this number that hangs over our heads. Can you tell us a little bit about our credit score?
I think it's a number that's come with some trepidation for a lot of folks over the years.
Yeah.
A lot of ambiguity. There's a lot of layers to this too. So we're going to kind of keep it high level this time, just to again build some awareness.
Okay.
And there's certainly tons of resources out there that folks can dig into, even on our website.
Okay.
At cccsofrochester.org.
Okay, and I'll make sure to link directly to the piece that gets into the more details about credit scores in the description.
And a part of what we do in our financial counseling is really help people to dig in to what's going on with their credit score specifically. Okay. But we'll cover the stuff that will get folks started on a good path.
Cool.
So the first one is that there are actually dozens of credit scores that exist.
Okay.
So just like we talked about, there's more than one credit report. There's a lot more than one credit score.
Okay.
There's a lot of folks competing in the market, but the original one and most important one is still the Fico score.
Okay.
And that stands for Fair Isaac and Company. That's the score that ranges from 300 to 850.
Okay.
It's the score that you still hear folks like Dave Ramsey and Susie Orman talk about.
Yeah. Now, are we at the end of this? Are we sharing our FICO scores, each of us? I don't. Was
I
that
hope not. Yeah, to put it in the comment below.
That's right. That's a good one. Put in a comment. Don't pick on Chad. Pick on me. Like, what do you think my credit score is? I'm not necessarily going to. Yeah, the FICO score is an amazing thing, and the first time I was exposed to it was trying to buy a house. And as a young guy looking at that, and it had quite an impact on that process.
Oh yeah, and it'll certainly have an impact on the process for getting any kind of business loan as well. Sure. So I think we mentioned in a previous video that our credit score is tied to interest rates and also being able to qualify for loans. Mm-hmm. So I think it's good to have a little bit of a baseline as to what someone might need in order to qualify for a business loan.
And not to interrupt you, but when you say tied to interest rate, just for the folks watching, I think what you're saying, correct me if I'm wrong, if I have a better FICO score, if my score is higher, I'm going to qualify for better or lower interest rates. So typically the better your score is, the better types of deals you get from the banks and lenders. Is
correct?
Yeah.
Okay. And that could obviously equal thousands of dollars on a lot of different loans.
Can be a big deal. Yeah.
More lenders nowadays are actually being more transparent about what kind of credit score you might need to qualify for a particular interest rate. Okay. So that's very helpful as well.
Cool. Well, let's get into it. Tell us a little bit about some of these ranges.
Sure. So for a personal loan, if we're looking at a FICO score, the kind of entry point, if you will, is usually around 620 to 640.
Okay.
And then the best that you need, if you will, is probably about 740. So once you get above that 740 to 750 range, you're going to qualify for those best interest rates that you're talking about. So that would be for any normal kind of lending when it comes to a car, a home, etc. When it comes to a business loan, according to the SBA, they usually look at a score of between 650 to 675 in order to qualify for that loan.
Kind of cost of entry, if you will.
Right.
So you're saying if you're under that 650, 645 threshold, it's going to be really hard for the SBA to justify giving you a loan.
Correct.
Okay. Yep. Not to throw you off here, I apologize.
Okay.
Do you have a sense for the population? Like, I know what my score is, and I don't know how that relates to other people. Like, is there, do you have statistics on, like, the majority of the population in the U.S. is, like, in this range?
It's been a while since I checked, but it usually hovers around 690 is the average.
That's a good average.
That is pretty good in my mind as well. It varies per state.
Okay.
Yeah, there was a website that I used to check. I don't remember it, unfortunately, off the top of my head.
Yeah.
But it would tell you the average credit score per state and which ones were higher.
I'll try to find that. If I can find it, I'll throw it in the description.
Credit nerds like myself think that's like fantastic.
It's a great way to spend a Saturday afternoon,
Sure,
right?
right.
Cool. Well, I got you off track. So you're talking a little bit about SBA loan has to, usually the threshold is anywhere 645 to 650.
650 to 675.
650 to
Right. It
675.
depends upon a few different variables.
Okay.
But that's, where people want to understand is their target. So if you
Okay.
check your credit score and you're below that mark, you got some work to do.
Okay.
If you're above that mark, then in this respect, you're in good shape.
Cool. So that's great. So where can we go to find our FICO score? Is there like just like, in the last video we talked about, there's a portal for all three of your credit reports. Where do I find my FICO?
Yeah, that's a great question. There's probably a lot of websites that advertise credit scores, such as a Credit Karma, and those can be great resources. I think the main thing to understand about accessing your credit score online is that it won't always be a true version of your credit score
Okay.
that a lender will get.
Okay, so for instance, I know I've got there's a credit card I have and even a bank, like an operating account, checking account that I have, that I can go and check my credit score. They've got a service where I can flip through. So I see that number. That's not necessarily the number that a lender's gonna see when they run a report on me.
Right.
So should they be close?
They should be close. So once again,
Okay.
without getting too deep into the weeds here,
Yeah.
Lenders use different variations of the credit score depending
Sure.
upon the type of lending that
Cool.
they are doing. So the credit scores that we're given as consumers are kind of a ballpark generic calculation.
Sure.
It's not weighted exactly the same, but it's going to get us really close.
Yeah, and we're gonna talk, I think, in the next video about how to work on that score and how to make it better, correct?
Absolutely.
I just want to throw out there, maybe it's a little bit of a teaser. I have kind of gotten into this habit, and my wife and I compete. So we have very similar scores. We have one household, and sometimes she's a few points higher than me, and it's just kind of a joke, right? But I've kind of gotten into this thing where it's fun to try to move that score, and it's interesting to see the different buttons and levers that you can push and pull to have an impact. So, guys, if you're interested in learning how to grow your credit score and make it look better, make sure to subscribe right now because that episode's gonna be coming out soon, and I would love for you to learn about how to take advantage of this. Chad, thanks so much. This is great stuff.
Great.
I appreciate it. Guys, if you enjoyed it, give us a thumbs up, and like I said, subscribe, and we will catch you in the next video.